Randy, I wanted to go ahead and make you a video of the car, just a few things since I'm not going to be able to meet you in person. Just to show you a couple of things. Go ahead and crank it up. I got the AC on at the moment and it's actually blowing just fine. Mid-idle, it's nice and cold. So you got your sunroof, everything works good, of course. Auto sunroof. Close it back. So it's actually got 37,549, which is about 100 miles less than what I thought. There's your Aeroforce interceptor, and you can toggle between a bunch of different parameters. One of them does the top side, and one of them does the bottom side. You can choose any parameters that you want. Alright, so just to show you, we've got the killer chiller is back in here. It's mounted back in there. There's lots of coolant hoses that are unseen, so the capacity is higher for the system, for the intercooler system. But underneath the SS symbol, right there is your bypass valve. I've actually got a hole cut right here to where you can reach your hand up, and if you ever want to not have the coolant water mixture go through the heat exchanger for the supercharger, which I let it run through there just because that way I don't have to run the AC all the time. But if you ever want to bypass it and only run it through the killer chiller, this means you have to run the AC all the time. You're going to take this and you're going to pull it down 90 degrees. This lever right here. Now if you do that, before you do that, I've got this Lyle spill-free funnel, which you're going to want to take, obviously with the car off, take your cap off, and then you're going to mount this. I've got an adapter in there. You're going to mount this on there and fill that up with 70% distilled water and 30% coolant. And then fill it up, 3/4 of the way. And then if you flip that switch, you're going to create probably some air pockets that you'll have to bleed out. Oh, here's something pretty cool. It's wet, and that's simply from the killer chiller. So that tells you that it's nice and cool and it's working good. And my hands are dirty too. So that's that. And again, the front is in pretty good shape considering it's been a daily driver. It's not bad at all. There's, my wife ran over something. You can see that that's a little torn, but unless you get down there and look, it's not noticeable. And then there is a cooler right here, if you can see it, right there, right where I'm pointing to. I don't know if you can see it or not. There we go. Something hit that and it's dented just a little bit, but there's no leaks and it's causing no issues whatsoever. Everything is cooling like it should, so one of the fins has just been in, but it has caused no issues whatsoever. What else? Obviously 93 octane only, that goes without saying. I've always used the Mobil 1 530 synthetic, full synthetic, ever since the first oil change. Oh, your catch cam is right here. At the bottom, there is a custom drain cock. And when you go to change the motor oil each time, there's a little hole. There's no way I'm going to be able to film this, I don't think, and show it to you, but I'm going to try. I'm certainly going to try. Okay. You see it right there in kind of the center of the screen, a little nub sticking down? That is the drain port for the oil separator. So it's got a little valve. Stick your hand up in there and pull the valve down, rotate it 90 degrees, and anything that's accumulated in there, which is not going to be much, but it'll be a little bit, that'll drain out. Once it's drained out, rotate that little arm back up 90 degrees, and you're done. And there's nothing else that I can think of that I need to tell you. Got one little imperfection right there. But aside from that, there's not really any visual imperfections on the car for the most part. I mean, it's in good shape. Probably need to back them out the trunk for you a little bit. Let's see. I guess that's about all I can think of. You know, you got the Laminex on the headlights and daylight running lights. Doesn't affect the visibility that I can tell. This is something that I custom made. It was a real pain to do. The bumper comes off and cut it out, but it will aid in the airflow, obviously, to your heat exchanger and all that good stuff. So I guess that's it. If anything else comes to mind, I'll try and add to this video. But yeah, nice and cool. Send it idle. You might, you know, if I think that the charge is good on the AC, I think it's right where it needs to be. What I have found with the Killer Chiller is your high side pressure tends to be a little bit lower than you would expect it to be. Killer Chiller advises 2.7 over ambient for the high side pressures, and the low side is higher than you would expect it to be. But as soon as you give it just a little bit of gas, you'll find that your low side pressures actually come down. And typically, I think the low side pressures indicate the temperature of the air coming out the vents. So it'll be a little bit cooler as soon as you get to 1,000 RPMs and above. And again, this is really just on days that are above 85 degrees. So with this being a toy car for you, I absolutely do not see it being a bother or an issue to you. So aside from that, there's the back. You know, had a car seat right there. My kids loved this car. Now I gotta clean out right there, and I'm gonna try and kind of steam clean the seats a little bit and make it a little bit cleaner for you. But aside from that, she is good to go, sir, and I hope that you take good care of her and enjoy it. And I'm really going to miss it, I can promise you that. One more thing. You can pop this fuse cover off, two little tabs right there, and then that pops off. In the glove compartment is going to be this Ziploc bag that has a fuse right here in it. It says F51 fuse, it's a 15 amp exhaust valve, PTSQ. So when you're looking at right here, it is this one right here, this socket right here, that is going to be empty, and it's got that fuse. And the reason I have that fuse pulled is when the fuse is pulled, the dual mode exhaust stays in its loudest mode all the time, which it's not very loud for me, which is why I have it pulled. Because if you ever want light steering, for any reason, you've got this mode toggle right here, and you toggle up and down, and it'll go between normal, sport, track, and snow and ice. Well, normal is light steering, which I prefer, but if you have the fuse in there and you choose normal, it will have light steering and the exhaust valve will be closed and it'll be really quiet. So if you put it in sport, it will open the exhaust valve a pretty good bit and it'll heavy up the steering a little bit. If you put it in track, it completely opens the exhaust and it's a little bit louder. It's the loudest setting, but then the steering is really heavy. So because I like lighter steering but loud exhaust, you can pull that fuse and then you can still get the lighter weight steering with the loud exhaust, or the loudest exhaust option. And one other thing I thought to tell you, there is the lug nuts are locking, and the lug nut key is going to be right in here. Just stick your hand down there, and that's where the lug nut key will be.